slide down?
I don't know that. I was swearing my nameplate was.
We're expecting an emotional evening for me.
I know. I'm just used to sitting here. I didn't even think anything of it.
It's the children.
I didn't know if you wanted to sit by me again or not. We had bad feelings.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to come out. There was a conversation at the time.
What it is, I'm not
I think it needs a minute.
This wouldn't be the first time I've grabbed somebody else's glasses. Half of them, I don't even know where my glasses are. So. Usually when I'm scammering for stuff, my wife's like, what'd you lose this time? And sometimes they're on top of my head.
Cost of readers, so I don't have to spend much money. Don't screw this up. I mean, you got.
Is there anything controversial on
expensive.
this?
much needed. It was needed. Just a good reminder for me.
Night, welcome, council. Oh, I did it all wrong.
That was coming down on us.
Yeah, that was.
Sure.
Yeah. I didn't know we had
You might want to secure the bolts on that.
All righty. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. It is 7:04 on Tuesday, May 27th, and I appreciate you all coming out to the Clearfield City Council meeting this evening. I want to call our meeting to order and turn over our opening ceremonies to Councilmember Rashford.
If y'all will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance from our Youth Commission.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. So I want to talk a little bit about trust. Trust is the ability for everyone in an organization to confidently rely and predict the others, what they'll do, the right thing, make good choices, or on their promises. Government is like a trust, and the officers of the government are trustees, and both the trust and the trustees are created for the benefit of the people. That was by Henry Clay. It's the bedrock on which equal, effective groups are formed and tasks are accomplished. Business trusts require being consistent and operating in accordance with teams' stated values and principles. Consistency between words and actions are crucial. The real cost, whether it is local, state, federal, is a loss of public trust. That is why in today's environment, trust and integrity are so much more critical and crucial than ever.
Well, thank you, Megan. And before we get further into our meeting, I just have two housekeeping items. I'd like to excuse Mayor Shepard as he had some prior engagements this evening, so I'll be presiding as Mayor Pro Tem. And then if there's anyone here to speak during our open comment period later in the agenda, there are some forms out in the hallway at the podium if you wouldn't mind filling those out and bringing them to Nancy, our city reporter. But seeing those have been discussed, I see we have some minutes for approval, Council. We've got our April 22nd work session minutes, May 6th work session minutes, May 13th work session, and May 13th policy session. And has everyone had a chance to review those minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion or changes to those minutes to be requested?
No.
Okay.
I move to approve those minutes as noted in the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Roper and second by Councilmember Thompson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That carries, and that brings us to item number 1 on our agenda, which is the presentation to the Community Service Department for Innovation of the Year Award for Rosalie's Playground at Bicentennial Park.
Thank you so much for having us and allowing us a few minutes to maybe brag a little bit on your Community Services Department. So my name is Leanne Powell. I'm the Executive Director of the Utah Recreation and Parks Association. This is Mikkel Christensen. She's the Assistant Executive Director. And we represent an organization of about 2,000 Parks and Recreation professionals throughout the state of Utah that are all doing great work in their individual communities. And one of the things we do as we lead up to our annual conference is we take nominations for a number of different awards, including Innovation of the Year, which is the one that we're here to present tonight. But as we take those nominations, we had over 115 or 16 nominations this year, and we get all of those together. We had a packet of about 150 pages that we get all of our past presidents together to go through and kind of judge all of those different nominations and then decide who gets to be the winner. So one of the things I often get asked is, what sets like one Innovation of the Year apart from another innovation? And I think a lot of what sets a project like this one apart is in Parks and Recreation, we're really based on 3 philosophical pillars, and those are health and wellness, trying to create as healthy of communities as we possibly can. Environmental stewardship, taking care of the land, making sure we're, providing opportunities and parks and open spaces and trails for the benefit and the good of the entire community. And then the last one, what's the last one?
Access for all.
Access for all, which is, of course, a lot of what we're here to talk about tonight is the idea that when we have a community parks and recreation, is we want to try to provide programs, parks, open spaces for the entire community and doing outreach to all of the citizens in our community. And I think this particular project really reflects really all 3 of those pillars, but especially that access for all. And you guys kind of know the story, but the Community Services Department had just completed a playground, and a family went to that playground, and it didn't really work for Rosalie's sister. And so I think the ultimate, you see a problem, how do you take care of it? She talked to her family. The family decided to come approach the Community Services Department and see what could happen. So in a great use of how the public can get involved with their government, local municipality, they met with Eric House, the director, and said, this is a great playground. We love it. We're not really complaining, but it doesn't really meet the needs of our family. And so over the course of quite a while, the Community Services Department met with Rosalie and her family. I believe Rosalie designed a lot of the components that ended up being in this new playground. Got to do the color scheme, got to see kind of that process work. And I think that was probably, when we looked at Innovation of the Year and some of the different things that go into that, I think that was really just that whole process, like how municipal city government can really work. And I think that's a shining example of how that works. So we're proud to be here. Your Parks and Recreation Department, led by Eric, leads the state. It really does. Eric's involved in our Leadership Academy. There's several graduates in Clearfield from that Leadership Academy. Christine, your recreation manager, is leading a whole big sportsmanship initiative statewide. And Curtis Dixon, the deputy director, he's one of our past presidents and very much involved in everything that happens. So it takes a team. It takes a culture to be willing to make those steps and say, hey, maybe we didn't do this project perfectly, but how do we make it better the next time? So we're just honored to be here. Thank you for giving us a little bit of time. And on behalf of URPA, our 2,000 members, and our past President's Committee, we'd like to honor Clearfield Community Services with the Innovation of the Year for Rosalie's Playground at Bicentennial Park.
You guys already know this, but the people that really made this happen are Rosalie and her family, and the people that can't be here tonight because they're busy working.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
And just one other quick comment. When we present an award like this, obviously we're presenting it to Eric and his department, but really we're presenting it to all of you because your community services department could not do the things that they're doing without your support. So on behalf of everyone, we appreciate your willingness to support Parks and Recreation and see the value in your community. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that. That was beautiful. And before we move on, I just want to share that same sentiment with Eric and his team and the entire Community Services Department as well. You were excellent. And I remember quite vividly when I started running for City Council, one of the first stories I heard was that you had taken that feedback to heart and made the dreams of that young girl come true. And it inspired me further that I was in the right place and entering an organization that wants to do the right things. So I just have a deep-seated appreciation for you guys and what you do. And then I would like to move us to item 2 on our agenda, recognition of Senior Youth Commission members Ian Barlow and Jaylee Ballas, and I'd like to invite them up to the podium. Jaylee and Ian have been longtime members of our Youth Commission. With that comes a rigor of dedication that I think you don't see a lot in youth these days, the commitment and the follow through to serve as a part of this Youth Commission to the extent at which you both have, and to the level of excellence that you've demonstrated as well is rare these days. I'll keep it kind of short-winded. I'm sure you've gotten no shortage of unsolicited advice as you graduated high school, but they both graduated from Clearfield High School last week. I just want to say, as you embark on your next journey, Jaylee with your full ride to MIT, Ian as you work towards becoming a member of the Air Force Academy, you both are going to do excellent things. Pressure and expectations are things that you are no strangers to, and I know you always aim to achieve things to the best of your abilities. I want to let you know that sometimes things don't always go to plan, but you both have the skills and the intuition to make the best of your situations. So I'm excited to see what you do with those opportunities as the world becomes your oyster. And with that, I just want to congratulate you both on your graduation and movement onto the next phase of your life.
Mayor Pro Tem, if you would indulge for just a moment, I would love, if you wouldn't mind, to hear from Ian and from Jaylee. You guys have been with us for a really long time. We've traveled across the country and back and forth a handful of times. You guys are our seasoned pros, and as you guys move on, we are losing an incredible foundation of institutional knowledge that has come all the way up through this. Favorite moment, or a favorite moment of many. Some of the core memories from this that you will take, when you're sitting and talking with friends back east or at the academy. Favorite takeaways? Not to put you on the spot.
I was expecting words of wisdom, so give me a quick second.
You already had a chance to hear from that. There's nothing I can add to that, but I would love to hear. Or something you would recommend. I'll give you an out. Something that you would recommend to someone who's coming as a 9th grader or a sophomore who's joining your ranks. Something that you would pass on to them from the experiences that you've gleaned.
That's harder.
I'll let you pick.
You first, Mr. Chair. Well, Mr. Vice Chair.
But you have to step to the microphone so we can hear you.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. It's just get the most out of this that you can, and that's kind of what I did, and it was really helpful, and I learned a ton, and it was great to have the chance to help and to learn so much along the way, and I just would invite the youth in that community to take that opportunity that they have and to see what's here in the city, and to this is a great place, and to make a part of making it better. Thank you.
All right. So I second what he said because he's smart. I think probably my favorite moment, it isn't technically on CCYC, but with being on the Youth Commission, I was able to be part of the Planning Commission, which CCYC was incredible, and I got to meet people, and I got to serve the community, which I adored. Obviously going to DC was amazing. But Planning Commission was a different kind of commitment. And it was, I had an agenda, I had things I had to learn about, I had to ask questions, and I had to grow in a way I never expected myself to grow. And I think that is my favorite part. Like, I kind of know how to understand code, not well, not very well, but I can kind of understand city code. And I'm really grateful for that, I think. So the first time I was at a meeting and the first time I worked up the courage to pass a motion, it was like an approval for a plat, I think. So
great.
I think that was my favorite moment of CCYC.
You did great. Thank you.
Thank you. If you guys wouldn't mind, we'll present you with some certificates and a gift basket, but I also want to invite Jenna Nelson up as your advisor, as she has some remarks from some of our state legislators that she would like to share with everybody.
Terrifying? I've done worse. Thank you guys for allowing me just a few minutes here to recognize two of our longest members on the Youth Commission. They have done exceedingly well. They've participated well. They've taken on challenge after challenge that I've thrown at them, or just asked for a volunteer, and every time Jaylee's hand went up. So before I read these citations from our state legislature, I want to thank Davis County Commissioner Bob Stevenson for being here with us tonight. He's been such a great support for our Youth Commission over the years, and we couldn't do this without him. First off, Ian, if you'll come stand by me, please. Representative Carrie Ann Lisenby heard about our graduates and wanted to do something nice for the kids, although she couldn't be here tonight. So I am reading this on behalf of her, and she wishes you her heartfelt congratulations, and she's really, really sad that she couldn't be here with you guys. So sorry, I've been with you guys forever. The legislature of the state of Utah hereby commends and recognizes Ian Barlow for 4 years of distinguished service to the Clearfield City Youth Commission, including his tenure as both chair and vice chair. Ian has represented Clearfield City with integrity and pride during 3 commission visits to Washington, D.C. His contributions have elevated the work of the commission as he has brought forward many thoughtful ideas and fostered greater civic engagement among his peers. In addition to his public service, Ian has upheld an unimpeachable academic record and has been honored with multiple scholarships, including the Clearfield City Scholarship, awarded in recognition for his participation on the commission and for maintaining a 3.5 or higher GPA. Now, therefore, let it be known on this 21st day of May, 2025, the Utah Legislature proudly recognizes Ian Barlow for his academic achievements and his leadership on the Clearfield City Youth Commission. The legislature wishes him all the best in the future endeavors and hopes that he might have many occasions to celebrate with his favorite treat, cheesecake. This is signed by President Stuart Adams, Speaker Mike Schultz, Senator Jerry Stevenson, and House Majority Whip Carrie Ann Lisenby.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And if I can just say one thing about Ian, he's an amazing, amazing young man. He has come to our meetings with ideas, participated amazingly well. He's represented Clearfield well every time we've gone to DC, which has been challenging at times. But he's made the best of it, rolled with the punches, and made suggestions for improvements. And I have no doubt he's going to go far in life. So, Ian, thank you for all your contributions to the Youth Commission and for just being a wonderful, wonderful young man. Jaylee. Your turn. The legislature of the state of Utah hereby commends and recognizes Jaylee Bowis for her service as vice chair and treasurer of the Clearfield City Youth Commission. Over the past 3 years, Jaylee has demonstrated outstanding leadership, civic engagement, and dedication to her community. She has represented Clearfield City with distinction, including traveling to Washington, D.C. on 2 occasions as a delegate of the Youth Commission. In addition to her role in the Youth Commission, Jaylee has served for 2 years as a voting member on the Clearfield Planning Commission, contributing meaningfully to the city's development and planning process. Beyond her public service, Jaylee has excelled in academics and will attend MIT later this year. She is also a gifted musician and recently showcased her talents in Clearfield High School's musical theater program. Now, therefore, let it be known on this 21st day of May 2025, the Utah Legislature recognizes Jaylee Bowis for her dedication and service to the Youth Commission and her community. The legislature congratulates her on her accomplishments and offers its best wishes for continued success in all future endeavors. Signed by President Stuart Adams, Speaker Mike Schultz, Senator Jerry Stevenson, and House Majority Whip Carrie Ann Lisenby. One thing about Jaylee, from the moment that she became a member of the Clearfield Youth Commission, she has not once stopped to volunteer her service with either ideas or just stepping up in an unknown situation and figuring it out. Anywhere from building our floats to planning our trips to DC or fundraising, Jaylee has always been there. And I've been honored to lead these two wonderful young people. So please congratulate them and wish them all the best for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna. And before we present them with their certificates, I just want to thank Jaylee and Ian's family. It takes a village to raise such incredible kids, but also thank you for trusting the Youth Commission with them and their time as they've gone through this journey. So let's present those certificates and gift baskets, and I want to invite their families. Let's do a big group picture. And Bob, that includes you, so I want to see you up here. So let's get that going. And
let them go.
Go back. Let you guys go. Let you pass through. No, it's just we don't like back up into you.
Exactly. It makes more sense.
That's bad. The backing into you part.
And funny story is Jaylee doesn't know red velvet cake. It's chocolate cake with red food dye, and that was hilarious. So that's why I call it red velvet. You didn't know that You didn't know red velvet cake? How is that not common knowledge? All red velvet cake is chocolate cake. And as we all reconvene, I just found out Megan didn't know that red velvet cake was chocolate cake with red food coloring.
I had no idea either, so
And
it's not a common knowledge.
I thought it was really not common knowledge thing. I know.
That is not normal.
Now I have to feed you all. So have you ever had 7-Up cake?
You did not tell me. You told me about it, but you did not let me have
I
some.
brought 7-Up cake.
Nobody didn't know it was 7-Up cake. I had no idea. It looked like vanilla cake.
Okay.
Vanilla cake.
That brings us to the exciting part of our meeting, which is number 3 on our agenda, a public hearing to receive public comment on the amendment to the Wilcox Farms subdivision development agreement for the property located at approximately 1550 South 1000 West. And if there's anyone here, well, first I will open the public meeting. If there's anyone here to speak on this topic, feel free to approach the podium.
Go to him first.
Hey, Tyson, that's actually your cue first. Can you tell I'm new?
No, you're fine. You didn't even hear me.
Sorry for the delay. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Worth and council members. Before I get into the background on this request, just wanted to start with a refresher of the discussion that was had in last week's City Council work session. There was a lot of discussion about architectural considerations with the development agreement amendment request, and towards the end of that discussion, there was talk about the applicant potentially requesting to remove the request from the agenda. They wanted to discuss that internally and then get back with staff to let us know what their decision was. So their decision ultimately was to keep the item on the agenda, and I'll go through the presentation and get a little bit more into that. But to start with some background on their request, in 2022, a development agreement was entered into between Clearfield City and Destination Homes, and it was for the development of a 101-lot single-family subdivision. This development included small lots, unique architecture with a lot of open space and amenities for a single-family development. So now the homes are currently being built, and the progress and the home sales has been slow. Phase 1 of the development includes 58 homes. 18 of those homes have been built so far. There's still 40 remaining lots to be developed in Phase 1. And then Phase 2 includes 43 homes, and they have not started on Phase 2, so all 43 of those homes are remaining to be built. Here's an aerial image of the subject property. You can see the area shaded in red. This red outline shows 16 of the homes that have been built right off of 1000 West. And then there's actually 2 additional homes showed right there that have been built as well. So those outlined in red are the 18 total homes that have been built so far. And this is just to indicate the difference between Phase 1 and Phase 2. So Phase 1 is in the red shade, and then Phase 2 is that blue shaded area. So being in the position that they're in, and with development and the home sales and the home construction being so slow, they've looked at options to accelerate construction. Through that process, there's been this option to partner with another home builder where Destination Homes would remain as the developer, responsible for roads, sidewalks, and common open space. And then the new builder would purchase lots, and they would be responsible for the home construction and the on-lot landscaping. So to share some additional background and just the conditions that led to this situation, there's been some adjustments to the product to better fit the market. So Wilcox Farms, originally they contemplated this as a townhome development, a townhome project, but that was later changed to single-family homes through the entitlement process and the zoning process with the city. So then changes were made, some small changes to the plans and product to help the community sell better. But those changes didn't produce the results that they were hoping for. It's remained very slow, still only able to build 18 homes thus far. Those changes were, like I said, smaller changes related to the materials and whether or not there would be basements with the homes. Another thing that they have indicated has contributed to the difficulties is competition against another Destination Homes project in Layton. So that's the Trailside project, which is within 2 miles of Wilcox Farms. And then, like everybody, just general market challenges that have been experienced over the last few years related to interest rates, materials pricing, and things like that. So With the amendment request, there's a few amendments to the development agreement that they've been requesting. The first one, to go over it again, is it's the 9th recital to the development agreement, and this is related to the time period for completion of each phase. They're requesting that the time period be no longer than 24 months after final plat approval. So that's an increase from what was previously in the development agreement, or I should say what's currently in the development agreement, of 18 months. And then with that, some clarification added that the completion time period is for the horizontal improvements. So that would be the streets, sidewalks, open spaces, etc., but excluding the residential lots, the residential units or the homes and the on-lot landscaping. To go over the open spaces and amenities amendments request, there's a number of items. I'm just going to summarize these briefly, but for the open space and landscape sheets in the development agreement currently, the amendments they're requesting are to adjust layouts of some of the open spaces, to replace proposed trellis and shade structures with picnic tables and other structures, covered pavilions. They'd be adding benches to various open spaces around the perimeter of the open spaces. They'd be changing some tree types to a larger variety that would better provide shade to the open space. They were proposing to remove grass from the Paseo areas. With this one, I'm clarifying that the applicant is open to keeping the grass. They've said that. They stated that in the work session and have reaffirmed that since then. They're adding hammock hanging posts to one of the open spaces to immediately allow for the space to be used as more of a hammock area that could be used by residents. And then there's been a moderate reduction in tree and shrub quantities throughout the open space areas. Another aspect of the request is to adjust the corner side setback requirements. Now this is just for the private streets and the alleys only. This development includes a mix of public and private streets as well as alleys. In the image on the right-hand side, the street that's shaded in red is the public street that's part of the development. All of the other private streets and alleys are indicated in that white color of the roads going throughout the development. So with this request, where there has been a 10-foot corner setback for corner side lots, that will remain for the public streets, but it would be reduced to a 5-foot corner setback where the side yard is adjacent to the private street or alley. This really is how the project was conceptualized to begin with. In the pattern book and with the site layout and the illustration of the setbacks, it's already showing that. It was just something that needed to be clarified in the development agreement in the pattern book. And then another amendment request to address porch encroachments. So they're proposing to increase the allowable porch encroachment from 2 feet to 4 feet. So this would be on the homes that they've built, they've had front porches. So currently in the pattern book, those porches are allowed to go up to 2 feet into the required front yard area. They're asking for some additional flexibility to go up to 4 feet. As staff has evaluated this request, this 4-foot encroachment allowance is consistent with Clearfield City Code encroachment standards in all of our residential zoning districts. So it's something that staff is supportive of and the Planning Commission recommended approval of. Now, the Planning Commission recommendation included a recommendation to approve the prior amendments which have been discussed in this presentation up to this point, but they also identified some needed architectural amendments. So with that recommendation, it was for the applicant to include additional details to the proposed amendments to ensure that any new home plans meet the intent of the agreement and the pattern book. So with that Planning Commission recommendation, the applicant prepared amendments for architectural considerations, which were discussed in the work session with the City Council last week. The architectural considerations that the applicant prepared included the following things. One, that the typical architecture images be updated in the pattern book with additional renderings to show the types of additional home plans that they were planning on building. And two, language added to say additional elevations may be used given they adhere to the pattern book and ARB approval. ARB approval is the Architectural Review Board approval. And then the third, language added that no duplicate colors or elevations can be adjacent to or across from another. So those architectural amendments, like I said, were discussed with the City Council in the May 20th work session. And this is the amendment, the architectural amendment, which was proposed and included and discussed with the council. So with the City Council work session discussion, there was a lot of discussion about the pattern book. And there was a lot of discussion about the development agreement and the pattern book establishing a unique and memorable neighborhood. A neighborhood that included diverse, well-defined, locally influenced architectural styles. Things like with people doors, windows, and porches being emphasized in order to give character and definition to the street and to the open spaces where the front of the homes were addressing a paseo or an open space. So with that, in the existing pattern book, there are typical architectural images, and what those images show are homes with full porches, with pillars as part of the porches or in front of the home, as part of the front facade of the home, second-story balconies, and things like that. So with the City Council work session discussion, the conclusion was that the proposed architectural amendments by the applicant were not meeting the intent of the agreement, and that the intent of the agreement and the things that were discussed, like having a unique and memorable neighborhood, those types of things would be lost if the amendment was approved as they had proposed as far as the architectural changes. So in that discussion, that it was determined that the request could be pulled from the agenda by the applicant. That was thrown out as an option that the applicant would consider, that the request could be denied by the City Council. That was another option discussed. Both of those options would allow the applicant to work on a future amendment to address the architectural considerations of the pattern book and the agreement, and to come back to the city with an amendment request that still honors the original development agreement and the pattern book and the intent for the neighborhood, the unique neighborhood. So after the City Council work session, the applicant, they talked about it internally, and they decided, like I said, to keep the item on the agenda for consideration with the City Council. Now, the reason for them doing that is the applicant is requesting that the other items, so outside of the architectural changes or amendments, they're requesting that those items be considered for approval. So that would include the 9th recital, talking about the time period for completion of each phase. That would include the open space and amenities amendments. Again, like I said, they're okay with having grass in the paseos. That would be the setbacks for the corner lots on private streets and alleys, and the porch encroachments increase from 2 feet to 4 feet. So the reason why they are asking for those to be approved at this point is because they are wanting to move forward with the horizontal improvements for phase 2. And they would like the timeline extended and clarified as they go about continuing development activities on site. Another reason they're requesting that those are approved at this point is that there are conflicts with the civil plans and the development agreement. That was part of what led to this development agreement request, that they've got plans for a shade structure over a stormwater storage underground area, which in talking with potential builders of that shade structure, it just wouldn't be able to be done in that location. And then just that the setbacks and encroachments would allow for increased flexibility to build on the lots for the single-family home development if they're able to make progress in the meantime. So with that, they would still be looking to work on an additional amendment that would come back to the city for approval, and that would be an amendment to address architectural standards, lot sizes and things like that, or building types, potential for townhomes as part of the development like was discussed in the work session. So with that, the City Council has the following decision options, and this has been adjusted a little bit from what's in the packet just based on the discussion that was had in the City Council work session. The city could deny the development agreement request and just wait for the applicant to come back with another application it would be a lot of the same amendments that they're requesting right now with landscape and open space and the encroachments for the porches, but then also have the other things with the architectural considerations. Another option, number 2, would be to approve the development agreement amendment request except for the proposed architectural amendments, and that would be consistent with what they are requesting, which would allow them to continue forward with the development of phase 2 and have some things clarified in the development agreement. And then the City Council may also make a decision other than those listed above, such as an approval with additional modifications identified by the Council. I guess I should say one of those additional modifications could be if it's important for the Council that they keep grass in the paseo, that could be stated and clarified in any motion to approve. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any. It looks like we do have a representative from Destinations Homes here as well. That's Brandon Ames, who was in attendance at the work session last week.
Any questions, Council?
I will reserve that for after the public.
I'm ahead of myself. So I'll declare the public hearing officially open. I do have a question for the applicant, if you wouldn't mind coming to the podium. As far as the method of our motion going forward, is there any rationale as to why we would move forward with the landscaping amendments rather than an all-encompassing amendment in one go, in your opinion?
Yeah, just the architecture side might take us a while to figure out. that's new product, and like I mentioned, that's a big commitment. And so we're going through and looking at what we do have and what will that take. And if it is new product as well, we have to evaluate that financially, look into absorption, that's market studies. And we don't feel right now we know when that might be. But we do know that regardless of what happens, we had scheduled the contractor months ago and got on their schedule. They're actually supposed to start this week on phase 2. So we thought, well, we found all these not errors, but maybe inconsistencies in the DA versus the civil plans when we submitted phase 2. So we thought, we already have planning commission approval. Let's just get those. We know we have to take care of those anyway. And there might be more work sessions on the architecture side. Like, we just don't feel like we're anywhere near done that with that part. So we thought our original submittal was just, we need to fix these items in the DA. And we didn't want to start horizontal construction if we felt like there could be misinterpretation on 18 months to finish construction might be vertical or something. So we felt like, before we go start anything, let's make sure everything's clarified. And even for our product, the corner setbacks, wouldn't work. And with PUEs and everything that we're doing for phase 2. So we thought, we have planning commission approval. Let's just get done with that part and then we'll figure out the rest.
Thank you. That answers my question. Any other questions from the council?
So I'm understanding it, you only have 18 built out of phase 1, and phase 1 was to have 58 so far, is that correct? So you want to start on phase 2 before you finish phase 1?
Yeah, we want to.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
We're still in the public hearing.
Yeah, I thought this would be more
Let's
appropriate.
finish that before we get into discussion.
Yeah, I would agree.
Well, that was my only clarifying point. If there's any other public input, I guess, or if there's anything else that you'd like to share.
No, well, I do want to thank everyone for the work session. It was what we intended it to be, and that was an open discussion, and let you know where we are and find out where you are and start to work towards a plan, because we will have to make a plan to move forward. But so I would like to thank everyone for that. It was nice for you to take your time to do that.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Your Honor, see no additional requests from the public to comment. I would move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All right. Motion by Councilmember Peterson and second from Councilmember Thompson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That public hearing is now closed. That brings us to item number 4 on our agenda, which is another public hearing to receive public comment on the vacation of a public